Introduction to Debugger. Debugger is the best friend of a programmer. Therefore, learn to befriend it and it will help you in your learning of programming. Let me illustrate by using a Flash action script and a simple find max program. First, let me go into ActionScript tree, right? And look at my action window. First, let me declare 3 variables. Num1 to store the first value, num2 to store the second value, and max is to store the bigger number of the two. Then I get the values from the random number generator that generates a decimal value between 0 and 1. Since it is between 0 and 1, we multiply by 100 to get a 2-digit number and assign it to the 2 variables of num1 and num2. We then declare and decide if num1 is bigger than num2, then we assign max variable with the value of num1. Else, we assign the max variable with the value of num2. So let's put a breakpoint at the first execution statement. You will see a red dot if it's set. It means that the program will stop there. In this case, the breakpoint is stopped before the execution of assigning a number to num1 variable. Let's start debugging. Click Debug from menu, Debug Movie, Debug. A debug window will start and you will see an arrow stop at the line where you have your breakpoint. Left plane has 2 sections. The top has 5 commands: continue, end debug session, step over, step in, and step out. This is a core stack. This is a variable. I will illustrate what these commands later. Now, variables are all these are all the variables available in the program already. These are actually global variables available within this program. Right? Let's find the 3 variables that we have declared. Num1 is currently set at 0, initialized at 0. Num2 is 0, max is 0. Okay, we are about to execute this statement now. Let's step over. Step over means that you are not getting into a function. You just execute that line and go to the next line. So let's look at num1. It is now has a value of 12. Num2 still have 0. Max is still 0. Let's step over again. And let's examine num2. Num2 has a value of 75. Num1 has value of 12. So in this case, num1 is not greater than num2. Let's see if it will decide properly. Right? it didn't go into the condition. In fact, it comes into the else statement because num2 is actually greater than num1. So max is still 0, num2 is 75, num1 is 12. Right, we continue with it. And what we get now is max is 75, which is the bigger of the two numbers. After illustrating the debugging concept using this simple program, I will change it to a function so that you can see step into. Okay, I'm going to change the script now. First, I stop the debugging, end the debugger session. Let me factor into a function now. First, I key in a function called getMax, num a, unsigned integer, num b, unsigned integer, return unsigned integer. Right. Cut this out. Put it in here. If num a is greater than num b, I will return num a. Else, I will return num b. Okay. I think I leave the indentation there. And my max would be equal to passing on num1 and num2 to the function and get the value from it. Right? Let's debug it now. There is an error. My variable is wrongly declared. It's not num_1, it's just num1. And it's not num_2, it's just num2. Right? So let's debug it. Let us look at our variable pane. What is num1? 0, num2 0, max is 0. Right? Let's continue. Step over. Now our num1 is 41. Our num2 is 12. So we want to step into now. It goes into function. And we have num a and num b, 41 and 12. 41 and 12. So is 41 greater than 12? Right? And you can see the call stack here. This is the main program, frame 1, called getMax. So now you are in getMax function. So step over. Right? So it's correctly to say to get into the execution of this portion where num a is greater than num b. num A is 41, num B is 12, so it's greater than num B, and return 41, right? But our max is currently still 0 because it has not been assigned yet. It is now in this function. Let's step over. So it returned from the function. Now it's about to execute this statement. So getMax has got a value now. The value is num A, but max is still 0, right? Because it hasn't executed yet. So we're going to execute it now. Now your max is 41. Because num1 is 41, num2 is 12. So max is now 41. As you can see here, a debugger helps you to debug your program during runtime. You need not go through any or produce any trace statements, because you can see all the variables and the values that are being assigned. So it can help you to understand a program during its execution. Right? So master the debugger. It will help you master your programming skills. Thank you.